Humble group, a humble player, a humble staff, a humble program that's working towards other people, not themselves, will get the best results with this team.
How much of three-point shooting is scheme and open looks, and how much is just God-given talent and reps and practice?
You can shoot, you can shoot. And when you can shoot, you find a way to make shots. I don't care who you are or the scheme that you're in. If you can really shoot the ball, you make shots. Our scheme, especially with this year's team, it's an up-tempo approach more so than anything. We want to get back to the running game. When your defense creates those opportunities, shooting comes into play. Threes in transition are the best ones you can take. In the half court, you're going to get threes off of movement. Ball movement, screening action, inside out, drive to pass, sharing the ball, and the guys who get those shots should be the ones that take them. We shouldn't be a team that shoots quick threes. I don't think anyone is unless you got prolific shooters. But for us to shoot the ball, we want to shoot a high percentage. That's what the most important thing is.
How's Devontae grown as a leader from being suspended last year to now being a captain?
Well, I would say, sometimes opportunities hit you in the face to grow up. Hopefully he's grown up. I've seen a different Devontae in the offseason. I've seen a different Devontae this fall. He's always been a guy that's loved to play. That's never been a problem for him. He loves the game. He always comes to work. He'll practice as long as you allow him to practice. I think now, more so than anything, he's got to find a way to give back to his teammates. He's got to find a way. I think his teammates have shown their respect for his game and the way that he's done things and his talent. Now he's got to give back to them with giving them a little bit more of himself in terms of he's been through it now. He knows what's going on. He's got to be a guy that can communicate in his own way with other people to make sure that in tough times he shows some poise and he gives them the words they need to hear. And through tough times in a game, he responds. He's our leader. He's a guy that shows the swagger and confidence that he has. He has a lot of confidence. To me, he's going to have a chance to show that. And he's talented, man. He's a talented guy. And for me, I want him to be able to look back on his senior year and say, man, I got the most out of this thing. To do that, I worry less about what he's going to do. Let me worry about what he's going to do, and he's got to worry more about the other guys.
With Al, he was also named one of the co-captains. What did you see from him last season and this offseason to give him that position?
Great kid, everyday guy. Teammates really like him. Coaches really like him. He thinks a lot about his teammates. He cares a lot about how they're doing through good times and bad. Al's always got a smile on his face. It's a great attribute to have, in this time. In this day and age, for young guys, as much as they get hit on social media after a game or, you wake up after a tough loss. And for him to be able to have that vibe about him speaks a lot. I think that's more so than anything of what we need. We need a guy that has some smiling to him, that's the doom and gloom of a bad game or a missed shot doesn't impact him. That's what we need. And to me, the basketball will take care of itself with him because he's such a driven worker. Individually, he spends so much time on his game. He's as strong as he's been. Got to continue to emphasize the strength and conditioning component for him to stay healthy and to be. But he's played in a lot of games now as a 2-year guy. And he should feel confident as he goes out there. He's ready to go.
A couple of these teams took trips over to Europe in the off season. What's your philosophy on doing that? I mean, or you want to go shorter trips or no trips at all?
No trips at all. Those trips for different teams at different times mean the world, and sometimes they don't mean as much. For us, we haven't struck, so to speak, that opportunity to whether we want to right now or not. We've been early on in our tenure here. Sometimes a young team can really benefit from extra work. Sometimes an older team could use some time away and use it more as a reflection. We've used it as both, been a part of them. They're always great experiences for the kids because the opportunity for them to do that may not happen. As a coach, you're scared to death of injury, and you're scared to death of the season already becoming long, of becoming really long. That's your worry as a coach, that is too much, too much. You practice year-round sometimes now. You're working in June and July. Do you really need a foreign trip when those 10 days of practice meant so much 5 years ago when you couldn't do what we can do now? But I do think the trip, from a camaraderie standpoint, from an experience standpoint, you can't ever go wrong with that. And we'll do one. I'm not sure. We may go to French Lick and spend 10 days down there in French Lick and use some outdoor courts, work at some YMCAs. Maybe that's as foreign as we'll get. We'll be crossing an enemy line, and maybe we'll go and take a trip to another state. I don't know, but for us, we'll do one. We haven't yet. I'm looking at Maui down the line and seeing a great opportunity for that team moving into that Maui year with such great competition and taking a long trip. Maybe you experience a 5 to 7 day trip, this coming summer for it. We haven't really discussed it yet, but whatever we do, when we do it, it's got to be right for that team.
You were asked
Time
about
for one more question.
You were asked about the setup bill earlier. When Tim Priller was in school, Bar tried to make its Priller Time T-shirts, like spin off of It's Miller Time. When the 13th man can have that kind of marketability and just beloved kind of cult
There's
hero
no
nature.
13th man that ever has had such marketability
exactly.
in the entire time frame of collegiate athletics than Tim Priller.
So exactly. Using Tim as an anecdote, when you think of
I mean, seriously, Don Fisher is here. There's never been a player that I have ever